Ooh-wee! Welcome to Finish My Story, where we try to tell narratively complex stories one line at a time. Welcome back. Welcome back. Everyone say hello. Say hello, John.
Hello, John.
Say hello, Cameron.
Hello, Cameron.
Wait, you're not Cameron?
I'm not Cameron.
Why are you?
That's not Cameron.
That's not Cameron.
I'm
Who
Ca-
are you?
I'm
Why
Ca-
are you here?
I'm Caroline. I just live in Peter's wardrobe and I just popped out in a Dobby kind of way and joined the crew.
It's like the Indian in the cupboard, but it's the Australian in the closet.
Yeah. There's a lot of those, though, in different parts of Australia.
I don't know what you mean.
Come out and play.
Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you.
Cameron's away this week, so we're going to record with our lovely Caroline O'Brien. Caroline, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm a bit concerned because in the podcast I last heard, Cameron said she had the world's best Australian accent.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm very nervous.
Yeah. But yours is authentic.
You think?
Doesn't mean it's good. I mean, I will stand by. Cameron has the best. I mean, she doesn't need to be from there. It is the best.
See, I will stand by the fact that she definitely does not.
I was being nice, but you're right.
I love that she just went for it. You all just went for it. It was brilliant. I loved it.
Thank you.
Australia's angry now, though.
Yeah.
But we don't.
We'll get them back. We got one of you guys.
Bring it,
We're
Australia.
here for you.
I'm an actor and a puppeteer and a writer and a director.
You do a lot of improv work with the Groundlings. Is
I
that
do.
correct? Yes. Which is the LA-based improv group for those of you who are not listening. In case you haven't heard, we talk about LA a lot because that's where we are, unfortunately. I'm sorry for those of you outside of LA. And I'm especially sorry for those of you in LA. High five, John.
It is a good week.
It's a good week. John's
It's
from
been
LA.
raining. The whole city has been grieving.
Yeah, it's terrible for the
over
Rams.
The stolen.
The Rams. The 5 Rams fans were so sad.
Oh my God, I'm a Rams fan.
Really?
Whose
So there's
house?
6.
Rams house. Whose house?
No, they
Rams
were-
house.
I didn't
Whose
know that
house?
was real.
I feel sad that I have to do the call and response myself in LA, and I'm Australian.
John and I are both Pats fans, so I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Sorry, world. I probably shouldn't have brought that up. Our listenership was go.
They say not to talk politics.
Yeah.
But here you are, talking sports.
Yeah, which is basically politics. So let's get out of this. Anyway, Caroline's amazing, and she's going to help us out here today. Of course, you know Caroline listens to the podcast. If it's your first time, welcome.
They're so funny and
Thank you.
sweet.
And
You can't say that now. You're a part of it.
Oh, sorry.
she's so funny and sweet. But see,
He's
I can
not
say
so
that.
sweet
Oh, you
right
can.
now.
Yeah. But let's talk about what you've been into narratively before we get going, so we know where our headspaces are at. John, we'll start with you. What have you been watching, listening to?
Embarrassingly enough, I've recently been watching a lot of Australian reality TV.
Come on over.
It's really
Water's fine.
it's very strange that I came in today and here it's like the TV is alive and I am walking amongst TV land and it's really pretty great. Probably is the best, but it's like my favorite.
Crikey.
It's pretty good.
No, it's got a little twangy in there. It had a little New Zealand, but
You could
you
be
know.
the third flight of the Concorde
Yeah.
fly.
We could,
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
fun.
Yeah.
I'd be into that.
Yeah.
That's okay. So reality TV, nice, good narratives.
Unfortunately,
And
and the Super Bowl.
I
That's
the
not
Super Bowl,
narrative.
but yeah, we're not going to talk about that, even though we want to.
What about you, Peter? What have you been watching?
I recently binged the shit out of Russian Doll, which is the new Netflix series. I planned to watch one episode in an afternoon I had off and then go to the gym. Instead, I watched the whole series and then went to the gym. It is really good. It's really good. It's basically Groundhog's Day or
And
Happy Death Day combined in a sort of mystery. If like Groundhog's Day is the comedy version, Happy Death Day is the horror version, and Russian Doll is more of like a mystery version.
They tried to make Happy Death Day the murder or the mystery version. Where,
A little bit,
who
yeah.
Killed her.
Yeah, who's the killer? But it's is really, really spectacular, and it starts good and it stays good all the way through. It's only 8 episodes, and I can't recommend it highly enough. I was also recently got a collected the collected works of Sherlock Holmes. So I was reading that, and then I started watching that. And I was like, oh man, I have too much mystery in my life. It's a problem. So hopefully this story won't be a mystery. If it is, it's my fault.
Are you looking for something, Peter? Is that why you're
he's
all these?
searching.
He's looking, just looking
We're
for
looking for love in all the wrong places.
clues.
That explains the cloak he's wearing.
Well, yeah, you guys can't see. Peter's wearing like a wizard's cloak.
And
It's like
lined.
it's like a very large wizard's cloak that he's sort of like, you don't know where the arm ends and
Yeah.
the torso begins.
It's almost invisible in how big it is. Like it's almost an invisibility cloak because it just hides me.
No, because you become
You can't
everyone
see
looks
my-
in the other direction. 'cause
Exactly.
They don't
Oh
want to make eye
God,
contact.
we don't want to see that.
And the
person.
difficulty is walking beside him now when he turns corners because he has to flick it out with a lot of drama.
The flourish.
That's what the word I was looking for, flourish.
Karen, what have you been reading?
Reading?
have,
Why specifically
Or
reading?
watching,
You can
you know.
watch stuff too.
Yeah.
I've been very much into Married at First Sight.
Oh, what's that?
Australian.
No, the American
Oh, the
version.
American one?
Mhm.
It's a totally different
It
type
is.
of show.
I feel like yours has got a little more class than ours.
Yeah.
It's where two strangers get matched by relationship experts and they get married the first time that's the first time they've ever seen each other. And then they send them on a honeymoon with cameras, and then they set cameras up in their house, and it's like Big Brother for being married to a stranger.
So it's
I love it.
When you watch the American version, is it to you a foreign version of the show you know?
No, because we grew up on American television, so we think all your television is ours.
and the rest of the TV is just like BS.
And then we see Australian television, we're like, what's wrong with that? They're talking weird.
Not enough frames per second, I don't think.
Yeah.
Older cameras.
But the Kaminsky method
And
and Killing Eve
Killing
knocked
Eve.
my socks off.
Yes.
If you
I've
haven't
heard Killing
seen
Eve
it-
is amazing.
I
haven't
can't
watched it
believe
yet.
Jodie Comer, is it? Comer? Didn't get Sandra Oh got the Golden Globe,
Right.
right? But I can't believe her counterpart didn't get a nomination because she plays a psychopath so well. And maybe she is. And
Typecast.
and she speaks a lot of different languages in the show. She speaks no languages in real life.
Really?
And she's from Northern England, so she's from Hull. She talks like this.
Ooh,
And
yikes.
and in
Ew.
this, she's got like an Eastern European accent. Anyway, it's amazing.
So she's just so good that people think that she's actually, like she's not acting. And then that's where you get...
Yeah.
That's the problem. And then they're like, oh, she's just like that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Meryl Streep is acting because of all of her nominations.
Right.
If she wasn't nominated for anything,
You
people
would
go...
never know.
Yeah.
Um,
And a dingo got her baby. She did Australian too.
Yeah.
so, welcome. If it's your first time listening, as I said before, you're wondering what we're doing. Well, we're going to try to tell narratively complex stories.
One line.
At a time.
Seamless. Nice work. And we're going to do that by going in a circle. We have some special things like...
Story pause.
What? You paused it. What do you mean story pause?
I need to have a story pause right now so I can figure out a little bit more. You can elaborate on what you're saying, or I can make fun of you.
Yeah, that's
or-
most of it.
It's usually just making fun of you.
Yeah. Or Caroline. We might make fun of you if you know.
I've never been made fun of. I don't know how I'll react.
This is going to be first. This is going to be really bad.
It's gonna be,
That could be violent. You don't know. I was
We're
bred
a
from
small
criminals.
space. Oh, perfect. And we also have a story punishment, which I won't let Caroline explain. It's basically if we're listening and we get something wrong, like the name of the character is Anthony, and I say his name is Anderson, someone will go,
Anthony
Punishment.
Anderson?
no,
Story punishment.
no,
Ding.
Bing.
Ding.
Yes. And if you get binged, you get a punishment at the end of the episode. And you can vote on our punishment if you get binged. We will let you choose the punishment, dear listener, by checking out
Holy mother.
I know. So you can make Caroline do some embarrassing things, because let's be honest, she's probably going to be the one. We've done it too many times.
I have very little shame. You'll have to aim low.
Yep.
Yeah, Australian jokes are totally okay. I mean, if you want her to film a brand new Foster's commercial, we could do it.
Yeah.
America.
Dust
for
off
beer.
that boot.
We just take all those jokes you make about Australians and we just put them down deep, push them down deep, and then we get them out and make them about New Zealanders. So
We push them down deep and form abs.
It's true. They do all have abs.
You wondered what the thunder down under is.
Yeah.
It's hate.
It's like regurgitated hate. It's fixed.
I'm doing good things for my country today.
Yeah. So you can check us out on our social media platforms. Finish My Story Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and Finish Story Cast on Twitter to vote if we have one of those. But because it is Caroline's first time on the podcast, it may not be the last, but it is her first.
It's a veiled threat.
May not be.
That's what they say whenever you go to Australia, right? It's welcome to Australia. It's your first time, it might be your last.
Your only time.
Also, this is a knife. Anyway.
So I just want to say, as a little segue,
Yeah.
my relatives, I just spent with Christmas with them in Townsville. Townsville is now flooded and there are crocodiles in the streets. And when we say crocodiles, we're not talking about your pissy little alligators. We're talking 12 feet saltwater crocodiles
In
that
the
will...
street?
Yes.
Crocodiles in the streets?
Crocodiles in the streets.
Abadee day.
Crocodiles in the streets, alligators in the sheets.
Always comes back to alligators in the sheets.
Why
with
do
you.
we have to be so scaly?
You're so reptilian.
Yeah. You know what they say about... Oh, I was going to make a joke. I'm Jewish. This is what they say about Jews in Hollywood. There you go.
We're
We're
cold-blooded
all
reptiles.
lizard people, yeah.
Oh.
You ever heard that one?
That's not a nice
No.
That's... Yeah, but people think that, so... We're Jews in Hollywood. Whoop! John and I.
Can't
I
see
can make
any
that
evidence
joke.
of cold-bloodedness.
Yeah.
You can't see that Peter and I are Jewish, and you can't see that we have two redheads in the booth today.
It's really uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Caroline is a redhead.
We are a majority.
We
Finally.
finally, we're going to take over the wheel
Yeah.
with our hair.
Yeah.
I'm scared. The looks on their faces.
Be scared, Blondie. Be very scared.
But yeah, let's get into it. So, because it's your first time, we're going to use your favorite book. Caroline, what's your favorite book?
The Alchemist.
The Alchemist.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, everyone's favorite book.
It's just such a page turner,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But everyone wants to know how to make gold.
Right.
How do you make gold? I don't know.
It doesn't. No spoilers. No spoilers.
He hasn't
You
read it yet.
have to. If you want to know,
How to
read
make
the
gold.
book.
Read out The Alchemist.
Exactly.
So, we're going to get the first line from that. And you guys have anything to add before we get going? Oh, we need an order. Caroline's going to start, of course, because it's her favorite book. Then
Naturally.
we'll go to John.
Okay, we'll go to me.
And then we'll go to me, and then that's how it's going to continue in that way. And we're not going to do that bit where I keep talking for forever. All right. Now, take it away, Caroline.
The boy's name was Santiago.
And he lived at the bottom of the street.
In Santiago, Chile.
Santiago was an ambitious boy.
Santiago wanted nothing more than to get out of Santiago.
For you see, Chilean children can be very cruel about your name if your name matches the place you're from. It's a weird Chilean custom there, but all the other kids in his town always made fun of Santiago. Look, it's Santiago from Santiago.
They would walk over him physically in their boots and say, "Where do you live? I stand on the soil that I live. I stand on Santiago."
And so it was Santiago's ambition to grow so that nobody could step over him physically.
So Santiago's big ambition drove him every day to the local gym.
Where he would work out with his best friend and only friend, Miguel, who was a dog.
Santiago would set up the treadmill for him, and he'd run beside. The two of them would run, hoping one day maybe they could run for real away from Santiago. The town, not himself.
Ooh, that was harsh.
And Santiago didn't really know what he was doing. He was a young boy at a gym at the tender age of 12. So he would pick up weights and just kind of shrug around with them and lift them up and pull them over his head. And he was starting to get some muscles in his young age, much more than a normal 12-year-old, but He wasn't looking great, let's be honest.
He'd lied on his gym membership to say that he was 16 to the manager, Paulo, who was the owner of dog Miguel.
But of course, Santiago would tell Miguel all of his secrets, so he hoped that Miguel would not out his truths and secrets to his owner.
And then one day, at the gym, while taking a 15-pound dumbbell and sort of shaking it around his head in a twirling motion, he saw Miguel talking to Paulo.
Story pause. So does the dog actually talk, or does the dog talk like shaky?
Well, okay, if we're going to go down that path, Scooby-Doo can talk.
That's
just
true.
because all of the first letters are R doesn't mean that
He's still a talking dog.
Shaky.
Right.
I think, in my mind, Santiago is seeing him talk, but I don't think he is hearing what he's saying. So he could be talking, or he could just be going, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." And that's for you to decide.
Which is also kind of impressive.
Right, if the dog's going to go...
Okay, can you take the dog out, please?
Sorry,
we had a dog in here. Yeah,
Oh my
the
God.
dog's just doing, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah. Okay.
Story resume. Santiago's heart beat fast. He told Miguel a lot of secrets that he didn't want out. He told Miguel that of his father's penchant for picking his nose and wiping it under his mother's good dining table. He told him other things too. He told him his top 3 secrets.
Number 3, in this particular order, was that Santiago was hiding money.
Number 2 was, as we explained, that he was only 12, not 16.
And number 1 was that he was his grandmother's favourite. She told him before she passed away that he was her favourite, and that's where the money was coming from. Money he'd squirreled away from his grandmama, as grandmothers are called in Santiago.
This is the hometown of Santiago, Chile.
So Santiago put down his 15-pound dumbbell and rushed over to Paulo to see what the story was.
Paulo looked at him strangely as if he knew something.
Miguel piped up first. Story pause. Is this dog drunk?
That's up to you to decide.
Oh, story
Dear
resumed.
listener.
Santiago thought it was strange if Miguel was drunk because they were both on a strict paleo regime that didn't allow the carbs associated with alcohol.
Could it be that Miguel was keeping secrets of his own from Santiago's own Santiago?
Oh my God.
No.
They were best friends. They shared everything.
Everything.
How
Everything?
could he be drunk?
Miguel, are you drunk? Santiago asked.
Miguel said mournfully. Santiago could tell there was a look of shame in his eyes.
You didn't say anything that you weren't supposed to when you drink, as you often do. Did you? Hi, Paulo.
Hi, Santiago. Why are you talking to Miguel? Hold on. Hi, Santiago. Why are you talking to Miguel like he's gonna have a conversation with you or something? I mean, what?
Santiago was confused. Maybe Miguel hadn't said anything. In fact, the look in Miguel's eyes said, "You can trust Paulo."
Okay, well, I'm going back to the front now. I better not find out anyone's under 16. Bye.
As Paulo walked away, Santiago breathed a sigh of relief. "Well, that was a close one," Miguel said.
I'm also under 16. And if I lose my membership, I've lost my home, for I live here as the gymnasium dog.
Santiago nodded in agreement and took a bite out of his bar of nutrition, which he wasn't entirely sure what was in it, but it was helping him understand Miguel better. And then he got back on the treadmill.
As the two worked out, Santiago thought to himself what an interesting day it had been. First he saw his dog that he was best friends with, and then, wait a minute, Miguel just spoke to me. I've never heard Miguel actually speak before, he thought.
In the television, in the background, there was an announcement of a recall from Buno Bars of Nutrition. Santiago didn't notice, for he was looking deeply into the eyes of Miguel, who was telling him something without even moving his lips.
You want to bring me food, and you want to bring Paulo money.
No, I don't, Santiago spoke back to Miguel.
He distrusted Miguel for the first time in their relationship, and it stung deeply. He'd never felt so alone in Santiago, as Santiago.
It was then that Santiago noticed someone enter the gym that he was familiar with. Someone from his school came in with their older brother.
It was Lima and his older brother, Caracas.
Story pause, bless you. Story resume.
Santiago shivered, for Lima and his big brother Caracas were the ringleaders of his bullying torment that made his life barely worth living.
And if that wasn't enough, they too knew that Santiago was not 16 and could reveal to Paulo and
seemed determined about something.
Thinking quickly, Santiago turned to Miguel and told him with his eyes that yes, he did have food for him, he did have money for Paulo, but it was being hidden by these two larrikins, which was a Spanish word for mobster in Santiago that had just walked into the gymnasium, and it would be on attacking them that they would get food and money.
So to clarify to the dog, because dogs are notorious bad listeners, follow those two and you will get money and food.
Miguel nodded. That's as much as a dog can nod. And then thought to himself for a second before saying, "Wait a minute, are you understanding my words and thoughts?"
I am, Santiago assured him as he leapt on the two larrikins and attacked them at the throat. Larrikins being Spanish for mobsters in Santiago.
Santiago leaned back on his walking machine and continued to eat his bar jovially, watching the scene unfold in front of him. Paulo rushed in to see his beloved dog attacking the two Spanish mobsters.
Story pause, larrakins. Story resume.
Story pause, larrikins. Story resume.
Story pause, LARPers. Story resume.
Everyone's getting punished today.
What are you doing, Miguel? Oops, sorry, my voice got weird. What are you doing, Miguel? Man, something's really going on with me today. Why am I talking to this dog instead of just trying to get him off these people? And he grabbed at Miguel's haunches.
Santiago saw his moment. While all of this distraction was going on, with all of this heartbreak, he finally realized he didn't need Miguel. He didn't need Paulo. He didn't need the muscles that he thought he needed. This was his time to escape.
Into the records of the front office and change his age from 16 to 17 to make it seem even less suspicious.
When he came back, Miguel was in Paulo's arms, and Lima and Caracas were lying on the floor, bleeding from their necks, but still alive. And he went and stood over them.
Who you going to call Santiago now, larrikins?
But they found some way to speak through the wounds and blood. But you're 12.
And if we were in Peru or Venezuela, you would be just as stupid as you think I am. So take that. And with that, Santiago stepped on their bleeding throats and said, "Let's get you to a hospital."
Wait, story pause. He stopped the bleeding with his foot?
His foot. He's not a murderer.
It sounded like you were making him a murderer.
I know, and then I didn't want to.
You quickly went away from that.
I did, yes.
Yes, we don't want to have the story arc where he becomes the bullies that he fights.
No.
Good. That's cynical.
Yeah, it's too dark.
This
The world's dark enough.
Okay, no, that's it. Story resume.
Santiago's feet were especially dexterous from the amount of Pilates he'd been taking at the unlimited classes at the gymnasium, which allowed him to block bleeding on several wounds around the necks of larrikins, Lima and Caracas.
He appeared as some sort of contortionist, moving his legs around the wounds and keeping his friendly accomplices, from slipping into the darkness of death.
When the ambulance finally arrived, 7 minutes later, let's talk for a moment about how great the social services of Santiago, Chile are. I mean, really just an amazing city, really well designed, everything works. Anyway, when the ambulance finally arrived, they bullies, or larrikins, looked up at Santiago with a newfound respect.
The respect was only going to grow when the ambulance drivers and attendants, first responders, as they're called in Santiago, asked Santiago if he would pull a Jean-Claude Van Damme move in the ambulance and keep his feet blocking the bleeding wounds in both stretchers, both patients at the same time.
Story pause like a split.
Yeah.
You don't know the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits?
Listen, I know, I'm just
When I say a
clarifying
Jean-Claude Van Damme move, I'm not talking about
No, yeah, okay.
bum,
We're not-
ba-bam.
Yeah, we're not talking about being cast in Predator as the Predator and then leaving the production because he wasn't going to be unmasked and see his face.
Really?
That's a true story.
Did that happen?
Yeah. It was his first ever role was as the Predator and then he quit because like he thought that when they unmasked the Predator, you'd see his face as a man, but it was going to be the other alien, and he got pissed off and left the set. And they also had to shut down production at that time because the studio was changing hands. And so they went back, and Arnold begged Stan Winston, who did the Terminator models, to do a 6-week like crash course model for Predator, and they had it ready in time for when they started up again.
Wow.
The making of that movie is incredible. But Jean-Claude Van Damme splits. Come on.
Story resume with
My
info.
gosh. Hold on. Story pause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Santiago be asked to leave a mask on and be not known as the hero of this story?
We're talking about his feet. Okay, we don't want to know his face.
Yeah, his face doesn't matter.
He is his
It's
feet.
got red, blue, and white all over it. No Chilean flag joke.
A little patriotism.
Yeah.
I said red, blue, and white, not red, white, and blue.
Patriots. Story resume.
For if Santiago could do the JCVD move.
That sounds wrong. Story pause. That sounds really wrong.
JCVD, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Venereal disease.
Yeah.
It's that too.
It's the Jesus Christ minute.
Am I the only Christian here? Fair play, fair play.
Judaism. For if Santiago could do the JCVD splits move and keep these hoodlums' necks from bleeding out, the admiration for Santiago would grow, and growing is what Santiago wanted most.
As established earlier, growth was his main quest in life. Whether it be personal, physical, or in others' minds.
Perhaps it wasn't Santiago that Santiago was fleeing. It was a feeling of being small that he could not abide. He wanted to feel like a big, strong hero that he was. And if he could do that in Santiago, would he stay? He wondered.
Would he be happy being the big fish in a small pond, the big Santiago and the little Santiago, if you will?
He pondered all of this as he continued to chow down on his now second Buno bar.
He's just pulling them out of his pockets. That was a story pause, and let's call resume.
He'd eaten 3 of these bars in the last hour and had failed to read the fine print on the packaging.
For there was more sugar in these bars than in a candy bar, and more LSD than LSD.
Story pause, we're going that route, huh?
The dog talked to him.
I thought that the bar gave him the ability to hear dogs talking.
I mean, in a way, it does give him
But
that
then
ability.
they do say that about LSD, like Ramdas and all of those people say
It's true.
all this stuff. It's just opens you up to what's really there.
Maybe-
I don't know. I
maybe
don't
it's
do
what's
it.
Really there. Or maybe,
Open your eyes, Peter.
Yeah, open your eyes.
Open your
Peter.
eyes and see. Your eyes are open.
Open your eyes and look at yourself. Take a long, hard look at yourself.
yeah, really.
Don't you ever just look in a mirror and want to, like, punch that guy? Just me?
Oh, no.
Just
That
I
guy
could look
just
in
will
your
not...
mirror.
But yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, he just keeps looking back. Like, what's his problem? Find another mirror, dude. Come on. Okay, sorry.
Sorry,
That guy
resume.
just gives me a... Okay, sorry.
And as he finished the bar with his legs akimbo, he started to feel a little woozy.
Lucky being in an ambulance. There was a basin nearby for his nausea.
And in the most Jean-Claude Van Damme way, Santiago kept the splits and vomited like a champ. Like a Jean-Claude Van Damme, JCVD. I couldn't even say that right. I was too excited.
Story pause. Is that then a JCVD-PV? Projectile vomit?
Perfect projectile vomit. JCVD
PPV.
Yes, or pay-per-view.
Yes.
Either one works.
That is definitely a venereal disease.
Yeah. JCVD, PPV.
Be vaccinated now.
Story resume. I don't know who paused it.
Story resume.
And as the vomit came out of his mouth, it came out in what looked like a rainbow. And not just the arc of a rainbow, but it looked like to him that he was puking rainbows and just stardust flying everywhere as it came out. And Santiago thought to himself, well, that can't be good.
And at the same time, I feel much better, especially given that the projectile of the vomit had moved the basin over to where Caracas's stretcher was, making it look like he was the one that had projectile rainbow vomited. As vomiting is a shameful thing in Santiago.
Especially when you do it in the midst of saving 2 people's lives.
Very, very shameful.
He grabbed the jacket of Caracas, pulled it towards him, wiped his mouth clean, and threw it back on Caracas. Now all of the evidence was hidden.
Hey kid, do you need a glass of water? Said the paramedic in the back who'd seen the entire thing unfold.
No, I'm good, Santiago said as the ambulance finally arrived at the hospital.
You been eating those bars, kid? No bueno.
Story pause.
That was good.
Did you set that up the whole time?
Let's
If you
say
did-
yes.
That was amazing.
That was excellent.
I speak no Spanish. I sounded Spanish.
Perfect.
No bueno.
Oh, great. Story resumed.
No bueno, kid. We've seen 5 people today with reactions to those Nutrition for Life bars.
No problem like that here, said Santiago. You just make sure their necks get stitched up all good and right.
No, kid. Like I saw you eating those, and I saw you vomit. That's probably why. Let's bring you in and get checked out. And the ambulance doors opened, and there, waiting for them, was
Nurse Sandra. Nurse Sandra was the mother of Santiago's crush. And surely she would go home with this story to his crush.
And of course, no jokes about growing in this moment because he is 12 years old and that's inappropriate. And we're just going to move past that. And it's going to be about like a crush. It's going to be an innocent crush.
as Santiago stared down the barrel of Nurse Sandra's eyes. Miguel came loping up behind her.
Miguel had run the whole way alongside the ambulance. Maybe he could be trusted after all. But would Santiago ever be able to forgive him?
For doing the thing that Santiago told him to do against his enemies. Which didn't seem like a thing he needed to be forgiven for at all. But things are different in Santiago.
Story pause. And also he asked him for money and food.
That's
He was like shaking him down first.
Yeah.
Like
Like a
a
larrikin.
person.
Yeah, he was shaking him down. Story resume. Ooh, I remember.
And Miguel finally spoke up.
Santiago knew he couldn't hold a grudge. He knew he didn't want any help from this hospital. He knew that he didn't even want to make a good impression on Nurse Sandra, his crush's mother. He just wanted to take Miguel and head out on the road.
Just the two of them. You know, Santiago, Miguel, their case of bars that they have brought along with them. Just the three of them.
Miguel, let's get out of here, Santiago said. Miguel replied.
Which was dog for. I apologize for my previous behavior, but I think Paulo was a bad influence on me. You know he had underage kids in that gym? Just to make money?
Story pause. Just to make money.
That's amazing.
Ugh. Story resume. Meanwhile, back in Santiago's home, in the front yard, there were dozens of dug-up holes. Someone was looking for something.
But we have no money, Santiago realized. Miguel, but we have no money to start our life together, he said.
Money.
Which in dog meant, please do not go back to your domicile, for there might be my owner on your premises looking for that money that you might want to grab for the two of us to go and hit the road with.
I don't know what you're saying, Miguel. I guess whatever was in those bars wore off, so I guess we're just gonna have to hoof it alone. I mean, I guess I could go home and get the money, but something's telling me I shouldn't go back there, that there's probably nothing there for me, and if I really were to go back and get that hidden money that I have, well, it would just be a whole thing, and it would take a day, and I really want to just...
A whole thing? Digging the holes.
Oh, that was...
That was Olympic level punning right there. And I
Wow.
salute you, sir. Story resume.
So yeah, let's just hit the road.
So after they went hitting the road, so to speak, as the ancient proverb from Chile says, they got to a bus shelter. They wanted to catch a bus to Rio de Janeiro. I don't even know if you can do that from Chile. And there at the bus shelter was Simone, Sandra's daughter, Nurse Sandra's daughter.
Santiago looked at her and said, "Hey, you hungry?"
Because I have these bars that taste delicious and make you hear dogs.
Miguel said, sick of being the third wheel already.
Somehow in this moment, Santiago had found a new confidence. It was almost as if he internally grew. But we won't say that.
Yeah, that sounds nice, Simone said.
Is your dog talking to me? She said as she hoed into the bar.
If he likes you.
And as he said that, a bus arrived. A bus to Asuncion, Paraguay, which seemed good enough.
As Paraguay is very close to Rio de Janeiro, they thought, why not? Simone got on the bus, paying for her ticket, secretly opening the hatch for the luggage so Santiago and Miguel could stow away secretly.
And so the four of them got onto that bus. The two kids, the dog, and the sack of bars. And the bus doors closed and flew off into the horizon. Wings and all.
And as Santiago opened the little hatch above the luggage compartment that shouldn't open, he sat down next to Simone in the back of the bus, and they stared vacantly off into the distance. Hello, darkness, my friend. I'll come to meet you again.
Story pause. Are you doing a graduate thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Story resume.
Story pause. What was it?
The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
So Dustin Hoffman plays this really, really sad Jew who's like just looking for some sort of relationship, and he like.
And did they play that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he
Oh,
fights
I
his
don't
way in the
remember
end,
it.
like he goes to the wedding where she's getting
Yeah.
married, and he's like, "Don't get married," and like she doesn't, and then they get in the back of the bus together, all ready to be happy, and they're not happy, and then they just ride off into confusion.
Yeah.
Do you know that is it Anne Bancroft? Yeah. She
Yeah.
was 36 when she made that movie,
Wow.
and Dustin Hoffman was 30. And
Hooray for sexism.
right, and it pretty much ended her career because she was playing the older woman. She never got any more roles after that
Wow.
because that, she was seen as an older woman even though she was 36.
What does that guy got to do to get Dustin Hoffman to stop getting roles for
Yeah.
all the stuff he does?
Hey, thanks for listening to the Hollywood History Podcast. Story resume.
Stories, staring out into the distance vacantly, holding one another's sweaty hands, muttering under their breath, in unison, Buno, Buno, Buno.
Buno. Buno. Buno.
The end. Woo!
So is Miguel in the luggage by himself?
Yeah, or maybe he climbed up through the hole.
He is going to shit everywhere.
After all those Buno bars, most definitely.
And he's
They're
supposed
all
to be
sugar,
paleo.
and he's a dog.
Paleo?
There's probably some chocolate in there.
Dogs are all sugar and LSD. Stay away.
That was intense. Hey, nice work, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks. Hey, where can our listeners find you on the social medias?
Oh, on the social medias.
Yeah.
At Caroline Actor.
Oh, wow. You got that?
I got that.
Take that,
That's
world.
a
Right.
really lucky last name to have.
I know. Although I felt it pigeonholed me into what I could do as a career. I wanted to be a doctor or a teacher or
Puppeteer.
a puppeteer.
Well, she is that.
I am that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess all actors are puppets, right? So
That's true.
Not the puppet. Not the puppet. You're the puppet.
Do you know how hard it is politically in this season to be a puppet
Yeah.
when they're using it as a slur?
It's
like,
tough. It's tough.
Politically?
do you know what it's like to be a Jew? Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well played.
Touche. Go. Oh.
Simpsons neck grab.
Yep, that's what I was doing.
Oh.
The answer to that is it's not a problem in this town.
So what did you?
You got good bagels here.
Yeah. New York's better.
Yeah, maybe we went there for school.
It's about,
what-
it's about the warder.
Yeah. What did you guys learn today?
About Predator.
You know what? Actually, that's true. Yes. That
JCVD.
JCVD.
I learned that some gyms you need to be 16 to go to it.
Yeah.
Because I guess if you're younger than that, you don't have muscles.
Yeah.
You don't have like it occurred to me now you wouldn't be able to build muscle.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I learned never to name your child after the place you reside in because you might be in Chile where it's a custom.
Angeles. Angeles, be quiet.
Las Vegas, you put that down. Why are they southern? Alabama? I've had it up to here with you.
God damn it, Cahuenga.
There is a place called Bruce in Australia.
Bruce.
Oh, that's fitting.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, you want another Hollywood fact? Do you know that
Yeah.
the name the shark Bruce in Finding Nemo is named after the shark from Jaws?
His name is Bruce.
His name is Bruce.
There you go.
I love that.
Now we've all given a fun Hollywood fact.
Ooh.
Bruce.
Caroline, did you learn anything else today, lesson-wise?
How charming you guys are.
Oh.
And lesson-wise, look at the ingredients on
That's a
your
good
Beano
lesson.
bar.
Yeah, that's a great lesson.
And if,
If you're out of this country, read the ingredients.
Yep. You never know what you're going to find.
Here too.
Might be some LSD in there.
what are those tablets for gas? Are they Beano?
Beano.
Beano. I was like, when your nutritional bar for life is named after a gas.
And that's how we're gonna end it. Thank you, Beano, for sponsoring us today.
Kobe Bean O'Brien.
Right.
Yeah.
And Caroline O'Brien for joining us. You may
Thank
join
you.
us again.
I would
It's
in a
never the
heartbeat.
end. Thank you so much. Again, you can find us on our social media platforms at Finish My Story Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and Finish Story Cast on Twitter.
Go Rams.
I'm sorry. There's no more Rams to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Peter.
I'm John.
I'm Caroline.
And have a great rest of your evening siesta. I know it's not quite a full break and you're not going to be to bed yet, but you have a siesta. It's a little bit late for one, I know, but work is tough sometimes. So you got like an hour from like 3 to 4, or actually 4 to 5 to really take time off, and then you got to get back to work, I know. So
Peter,
have a
my
great
dog's
rest of your
calling
day.
me.
All right, bye.
This out and we could pretend I know it by heart.
I plan to. The boy's name was Santiago.
The boy's name was Santiago.
Oh, wait, I was drinking.
Mic check.
The boy's name was Santiago.
You need to leave that noise in.
Okay, I will.
Yeah,
I'll find a way. I'll put it at the end.
It's just story pause sound.